speed bump. So, interesting development. The Buffalo Trace single oak projects were actually dropped at Buffalo Trace an hour ago. The bottles that we were hoping to get this morning. Like the bourbon hunters we are, we're gonna go see if we can get it. Okay, but first, this actually looked like a flop of a hunt. So let me take you back to the beginning and show you why. We're doing the old Taylor tour today, and we're actually gonna camp out here and wait in line for whatever drops this morning. So we are first in line, baby.
I've been camping on the website. I think it's just going to be a lot more information. Hopefully it takes us to different parts of the property. They don't take everybody else. And being first in line, hopefully we can grab one of their bundles or something, one of the goodies that they have.
Yeah, those 4 grains like last week.
Honestly, I want the Oak Project over all of it so badly. I think it's like $75 to 375 ml bottle. I'm chasing that. Ready to rock.
You guys gonna go in? Count you off. Yeah, we're going.
Sir. Good morning.
Good, how are you? Good.
Morning.
Happy Monday.
So we were pretty bummed that there was no special bottles out. Yeah, there was Wellers and Equal Rares and stuff. And I got a Weller for my friend because he doesn't have any. So even though we didn't get anything from the gift shop, we were like, well, it is a pretty special tour, so maybe they'll give us something there.
That's not fair.
It's not fair. They just want you to start brewing.
Seriously.
Water.
Yeah.
I do.
Start making Christmas lists.
I just want the Oak Project. I already know all that.
Ow.
I'm chasing one thing at a time.
But I would like to begin by formally welcoming you to, and some of you back to, the country's oldest continuously operating distillery. It's been documented that we've been making whiskey on this property since 1786. We haven't stopped for anything, not even Prohibition didn't slow us down. Yeah. Now, you know, of course, they've been making corn whiskey here for long before 1786, right? I just think that's when they sobered up long enough to write it down, really. Because things got started here in 1775. 2 brothers, Willis and Hancock Lee, land surveyors ordered by the governor of Virginia to come out here, survey the land of the wild, wild west. They made their way here by following in the tracks of, or they came in the traces of, what everybody called buffalo. And really, they were American bison, but potato, right? What the buffalo were doing was making their way over to the natural 90-degree bend in the Kentucky River, known as the Great Buffalo Crossing. I like to pop in here to show you 12 of our newest 93,000-gallon fermentation tanks. At the end of Prohibition, Albert Blanton is responsible for our second major expansion, bringing us from 14 buildings to 114 buildings in 20 years. Right around again, 2010-ish, give or take. Buffalo Trace is sitting at the table running their numbers for the projected demand, getting very nervous. They pick up the phone and they call our parent company, which is Sazerac. Sazerac is an American family-owned company out of New Orleans, and they own more than 450 spirit labels worldwide. Buffalo Trace said, we're going to need some help. Sazerac said, what's it going to take? We said, we're going to need to at least double everything here. And they said, that's okay. They cut us a check for $1.2 billion. So you're looking at 12 of our newest 93,000-gallon fermentation tanks. And doubling everything on the other side of that white brick wall are 12 more of these. We now have 24 93,000-gallon, those are 92,000 gallons, but what's 1,000 gallons at this size, right? We'll get 200 barrels from each one of these. We're filling an average of 2,000 barrels a day. Buffalo Trace said that's still not enough, so now we're building 8 more of these fermentation tanks on the other side of the visitor center. That is the end of E.H. Taylor's original OSC distillery. E.H. Taylor runs into financial trouble. He ends up partnering with, remember, selling the distillery to George T. Stagg. George T. Stagg was former military, comes after the Civil War. He had money. His family had been in the commercial whiskey distribution business. Taylor had ideas. It seemed like a match made in heaven. It was the shortest honeymoon period in history. These two went to great lengths to hate each other. But when they partnered, they added on to the OFC distillery. Albert Blanton comes in with this major expansion, defaces this building, turns this into the boiler room, which it still is today, replaces what was beautiful with this more industrial looking base.
Thank you.
The oldest residential building in Franklin County. However, this has served a lot of purposes over the years. During the Civil War, this was actually an infirmary. During Prohibition, this building was the armed guard station. But my favorite story is one of the first counties in Kentucky was named after an affluent French family who gave a lot of money for the French and Indian War. They were the Bourbon family. So they got a county named after them. Things used to get sent down to New Orleans because the Kentucky River, just on the other side, is one of just a few rivers in the world that runs south to north. And in Carrollton, Kentucky, joins up with the Ohio River, where it heads south into the Mississippi River and then comes out in New Orleans. They used to send things downriver in barrels, and they used to burn the inside of the barrel out between uses to clean it out. And then they used to brand the barrel heads like you would livestock, and they would say Bourbon County, Bourbon County, Kentucky whiskey. It would take 5 or 6 months for the boat to make it down to New Orleans. So there would be men on these flatboats with horses because they needed some way to get back. By the time they got down to New Orleans, what was basically moonshine sent down to New Orleans in these burned out barrels would taste better than anything they could make on the fly down there, and it would have that beautiful amber color from the interaction with the char. So people started asking for it by name. And then horse racing comes into play, because once these men got down there, these flatboats would be disassembled and the lumber would be sold so that people could build cabins while they were building their real homes in New Orleans. So these guys needed a way to get home very quickly, because then they would have wads of cash in each hand. They would have one wad of cash from selling the lumber from the flatboats, and they would have another hand full of cash from selling the bourbon, and then they would race their horses back to Kentucky to do it all over again. Well, this is it.
I wanted to do this one.
B.H. Taylor's original OFC distillery. But it didn't always look like this. At the end of Prohibition, from the mid-1930s to about the mid-1950s, early 60s, they relined one of the vats with copper, as it would have been in Taylor's time. They do use that vat a couple times a year. This picture up on the wall was taken off of a brochure from E.H. Taylor. We're sitting right at about 2 o'clock on that picture. E.H. Taylor had tourism in mind, even in the late 1800s. Bottom of the warehouse, there is only earth below us. There are less drastic temperature changes down here because it's like your basement or your cellar. So that means that we leave our barrels to age for longer lower in the warehouse. That means that right now, right here, you're standing amongst some of the oldest, rarest, most sought after, most expensive bourbons in the entire world. It is in the bottom of the warehouse that we age our top shelf labels, and as a general rule, we don't rotate our barrels either. So where we place them is where they're going to stay for typically 3 to 23 years. I say typically because Harlan just released one of his experiments, a 25-year-old Eagle Rare. Now, after 25 years, and the Angels take their share, there's not much left in that barrel, as you can imagine. MSRP, not secondary markup prices. Retail, MSRP, $10,000 a bottle for that. Back in 2006, the left half of the roof got ripped off the top of this building, but left the barrels untouched, miraculously. We take care of the angels around here. About 6 months later, when Harlan Wheatley was able to safely get up there and check on those barrels, he didn't know what to expect. So he tastes the bourbon in the barrels to find out it's the best tasting bourbon he'd ever had. He says, bottle it up. We do. He goes to the marketing team. He says, come up with a great name for this stuff. They name it E.H. Taylor Warehouse C Tornado Surviving Bourbon. They sell it for like $70, $75 a bottle. And now if you can even find it on the secondary market, I hear the market's a little low right now, $10,000 a bottle. Yeah. Harlan has thousands and thousands of experimental barrels aging on the property now, but he can't replicate the flavor profile of that tornado surviving bourbon. The only reason he can come up with was from the barometric pressure change of the tornado.
And you said we're thieving from the barrel today?
Oh, that would be nice. That would be, I don't remember that. You'll need to rewind that footage on that one.
Well, this really felt like a hunting flop, and it wasn't looking good at all. So we decided to go to Kroger Wine and Spirits to meet Doc, who was actually in a Brewzle video.
TJ, this is Doc, Kroger, Frankfort, Kentucky. I've been waiting for you.
And then head to Bardstown to go to distilleries. I'm curious, what are some bottles that you think people are skipping over too much?
That All Nations up there is a decent bottle. They shouldn't be doing that. It's a good bottle. You've got these little old bottles over here. The story is this has some with Caddyshack.
Oh, really? That's fun.
There's two different bourbons, but the difference in the bourbons, we only have a rye and one bourbon left.
That's a lot cheaper than that.
I mean, the flavors are just, to my palate, are just fantastic.
Yeah.
There's totally different. And then this is a decent bottle. It's a Jim Beam product there, finished in a Japanese method there. That is another decent they pass up.
Okay.
You know, I'm just going by what my palate is.
Yeah.
You know, so. And
That's
of
great.
course, anybody with the Castle Key weeded there, the weeded is really taking off. That's a decent bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a big hit. That's a rye and a bourbon mix.
Yep. 113 proof.
Yes, that is definitely a tasty bottle.
Okay. Yeah, part of me like just wanting to get into like YouTube and all this stuff is also just I'm still somewhat new, a couple years in, and just helps me like learn more, get myself out there, meet people. So yeah, a lot of this stuff I'm continuously learning.
These curlies are good. You know, a lot of people, the folks that know about them, they don't pass them up.
Okay.
They're a decent bottle. And don't be afraid to experiment with the old time whiskeys.
Yeah.
The old Crows. The early times, all the bottom shelves.
Yep.
Old Fitzgerald. Don't pass them up. Don't be one of these guys that's just strictly on the allocator.
Right.
You go for stuff that's readily available and
Yeah, because not everything's allocated just because it's good.
yes, exactly. And another thing is go to a well-stocked bar, do flights. Pick you out 3 or 4 and have them do a 2-ounce shot of each. And then give you a block of time.
Yeah.
Try them out. Keep notes, at least to your palate. And then take pictures because those are the ones that you'll really, really enjoy.
Yeah, exactly.
That way you don't spend all kinds of money for a $7.50 or something that you don't know anything about. And then
Yep.
you've got a bar full of
Stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's always the interesting thing is, looking at new ones and you're like, do I just buy the bottle or do I try to go to find it?
Yeah, go to a well-stocked bar.
Yep. Anyone's around here that...
We got a really nice one that's downtown called the House of Commons.
Okay, yeah,
Sells
I've heard of that.
Nothing but Kentucky bourbon.
Right.
You know, and
Just
he's got
off the charts.
He's got all kinds of interesting stuff.
Yeah,
So
great.
it's even got stuff back from the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Wow.
The heritage stuff. So
Wow.
just keep your mind open, and
Yes, sir.
just if you're doing your taste, just don't. If you're gonna drink rye, just drink rye. But if you're just gonna do bourbons, just drink bourbons.
Right. Don't mix them.
And do not, because once you get a rye in there, you're done for
Yeah.
a period of time.
Yeah, your palate's just, yeah.
Blown away.
Can you tell me more about Monk's Road?
It's from the J.W. Dant family. This is this generation. J.W. Dant was a big time distiller way back in the day.
Yep.
But Heaven Hill bought them out, and they own the name J.W. Dant. These folks tried to procure the name, I hear, and they can't get it back. So in the area they're in, there's a monastery down in there. So they're calling it Monk's Road.
Gotcha.
So both of these are decent bottles.
Yeah. Okay. Did you say how much?
$199.99. Just MSR.
What?
Not cheap.
I don't know. If
You say no?
I bet y'all are gonna kill me if I don't get this little book, The Infinite, for right on MSRP. I've just been spending so much money lately. Been tough trying to stretch everything out. Just want to say, great to meet you real quick.
It's nice to meet you. Good luck on it, man.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. All right, Heaven Hill. Here we go. So
Last
this is
one.
the Grenade. So it's 125 proof.
This is what I came in here for, so I can't wait.
Confirmed. Snagged it. Comment below which one of the Heaven Hill grain of glass is best. I'm hearing it's the rye, but I'm not quite sure. Turns out the ladies behind the counter gave me one, so we got, I guess, maybe the last two, but yeah, very kind of them. Excited to try these out one day. So, interesting development. The Buffalo Trace single oak projects were actually dropped at Buffalo Trace an hour ago. The bottles that we were hoping to get this morning, and I guess they're putting them out so that they can draw people back in because it's been a slow day. So it seems like there's over 100 bottles or so. So like the bourbon hunters we are, we're gonna go see if we can get it. So stay tuned. We're 25 minutes out of Buffalo Trace. We've not heard any updates on the oak projects. It sounds like there's probably gonna be like 50 left by the time we get there. I don't know. I could be
Shaken. I mean, if it's not there, that's just adding 2 extra hours to the drive that just doesn't need to happen. But if it is there, totally worth it.
Yeah, so we're gonna skip Beam and Willet. We are trying not to race, but we all know the drill.
It's probably working. I'm ready to like parkour out of this car. What are we doing?
Okay. Speed bump. You did not see it, did you?
I saw it. I just didn't care, dude.
All right.
That shit was
There's another
not
one.
okay, but
That's another one.
oh, it is another one.
You guys are all set.
Woo! No. Hard one is to figure out which batch I want.
I know. And now I kind of feel bad for not grabbing that one, right? That's right.
Two. Oh, I don't know.
There are 192 different options. That's a long night of drinking.
Wow.
What is 175 is weeded, right?
Yeah, that's the Weller recipe.
What are the numbers?
The numbers correlate to the different barrels. There were 192 different barrels. Each one of them was made in a very specific way. So each one is totally unique in its flavors from the other.
Yes.
What do you guys recommend?
One of them. Whichever one you want.
Fair enough.
There's not a great way of doing it, unfortunately. This is a Weller recipe, and this is also a Weller recipe. Number 32, which is this one right here, is a Buffalo Trace recipe.
Which one did you get?
Same one.
I said that's a Weller option too.
You get a different batch. Boom. Look at that. We got it. Grant, how do you feel?
I'm happy.
That was a wild ride. But we got it, and honestly, there was plenty left. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm stoked. I can't believe it.
Let's go. Got the freaking oak projects. You know, Buffy Trace kind of hurt us a little bit by, you know, dropping them in the afternoon once we left, but hey, we got it. We both got the same recipe. Yeah, so we got the 175 recipe, which is, I guess, a Weller recipe. So excited to try it. All right, we actually decided to do one more run. So here is exit number 2.
They always have stuff every time I come here.
So we got the oak project. Didn't think we were going to. We were an hour away, and minute by minute we saw more and more people were getting bottles, but we finally ended up getting one. So I'm actually gonna put my review of this bottle in the next video of my favorite pours of 2024. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this content, and I will see you guys in the next video.